Japan's urban legends have a unique way of seeping into the psyche, not only of those in Japan, but of people worldwide, particularly in the United States. These legends provoke such intense fear because they touch on something primal, something that lingers deep within us all. Perhaps the most terrifying aspect of these stories is that they seem more than just folklore. They are woven into the fabric of ancient beliefs, forgotten rituals, and fears that have been passed down through generations, reminding us that the unknown is always closer than we care to admit. In this series' third part, we will explore accounts that defy logic and stretch beyond the supernatural. These stories prove that these tales aren't merely for telling around a campfire. They are reminders that the inexplicable is much more real than we might imagine. Ready to feel a chill down your spine? Let's delve into one of Japan's most disturbing legends and see why it has captured imaginations worldwide. The cursed game. Hitori Kakurenbo. Have you ever thought about playing hide and seek? Now imagine playing it. But instead of your friends, you're playing with something far more dangerous. Hitori Kakurenbo is a game that originated in Japan in 2007 during the rise of internet forums that quickly spread urban legends. At first glance, it may seem like a harmless ritual, but those who have attempted it tell a different story, one that uncovers deeper fears and horrors. The game, which is said to take place at 3 o'clock, begins with what seems like a simple task. You cut open a teddy bear and stuff it with rice. But here's where the ritual takes a sinister turn. You must also include a piece of yourself, whether that be a strand of hair, a fingernail, or even a drop of blood. This act is already steeped in disturbing symbolism. Stuffing a child's toy with something so personal recalls ancient rituals where objects were believed to be linked to individuals, binding them through physical connections. The use of rice is significant too. In many cultures, rice is a sacred food that symbolizes life and prosperity. But in this ritual, rice is twisted into something dark, as if it represents a macabre exchange, a sacrifice to fuel the ritual's power. Once the teddy bear has been prepared, you give it a name. In various mystical traditions, naming something gives it power. Now, the teddy bear is no longer an innocent toy. It's something else entirely. You place it in a sink filled with water, say the incantation that starts the game, and then hide. What happens next is where the real terror begins. The silence of the early morning hours, usually peaceful and calm, becomes heavy and oppressive. The stillness that once symbolized rest is now filled with anticipation. Soon, the first signs appear. A faint scraping sound, like a knife dragging across the walls, light footsteps barely audible, yet unmistakable, and an overwhelming cold that creeps into every corner of the room. But this cold isn't just a temperature drop, it's something deeper, a chill that seems to pull at your very soul. Lights flicker erratically, and it feels as though the very electricity in your home is being manipulated. It's as if the entity now inhabiting the teddy bear is trying to manifest physically, to make its presence undeniable. The terror of Hitori Kakurenbo doesn't come just from the act of playing the game, it comes from the growing realization that you have meddled with something far beyond your understanding. By performing this ritual, you may have opened a door that should have stayed closed. This feeling intensifies when you realize that the teddy bear isn't where you left it. Panic sets in. The toy, once a harmless object, is now something more. It's an entity that's loose in your home, and worse, it's looking for you. Some who have played this game report subtle yet chilling changes in themselves afterward, a constant feeling of being watched. Even when they're alone, they speak of nightmares where they're pursued by shadowy figures, fleeing but never able to escape. And even after burning the teddy bear, supposedly the way to end the game, things don't return to normal. The sounds, the sense of being watched, the eerie feeling of dread never completely disappear. Those who dared to play speak of doors opening by themselves, objects vanishing and reappearing in odd places, and an unshakable feeling that something dark and dangerous is lingering just out of sight. The game, which began as a dare or a thrill-seeking adventure, becomes a constant reminder that some doors, once opened, can never be shut again. Hitori Kokorenbo might seem like just another urban legend, but it's possible that it's something much older, an ancient ritual, dressed up as a modern game, waiting to trap those who are unwary enough to challenge forces they can't control. Yuki Onna, the Snow Woman. One of Japan's most captivating yet terrifying legends is that of Yuki Onna, also known as the Snow Woman. Unlike the bloodthirsty monsters or grotesque demons found in other tales, Yuki Onna is a figure of breathtaking beauty. She appears during snowstorms, gliding effortlessly through the snow with her long, flowing hair and skin as pale as the ice around her. But her beauty is deceptive. Her eyes betray a coldness that goes beyond the physical, a frost that reaches into the soul. The legend of Yuki Onna touches on a primal fear, the fear of being lured into a trap without realizing it. Picture yourself lost in a snowstorm, the wind whipping around you, disoriented as the freezing cold begins to bite at your skin. In the midst of this chaos, you see her, a figure so serene and beautiful, standing silently in the snow. At that moment, your instincts scream at you to run, but you can't help but be drawn in by her allure. This is where the true terror of Yuki Onna lies. She doesn't need to chase her victims or even lift a hand to harm them. Her mere presence is enough to fill your heart with a primal dread, the kind of fear that paralyzes you in place. Her gaze alone can freeze you, both physically and metaphorically, trapping you in a state of helplessness. In different versions of the legend, Yuki Onna is portrayed as a personification of the deadly cold of Japan's mountains. She represents the brutal, indifferent force of nature, beautiful but unforgiving. Her victims are often found frozen to death, their faces locked in expressions of terror. Some accounts tell of her singing a soft, melodic tune, a lullaby that lures lost travelers deeper into the storm. Her voice, soft and hypnotic, brings a false sense of peace, as if death itself were offering a gentle embrace. In other stories, those who follow Yuki Onna are never seen again. Their bodies, when found, are twisted into unnatural positions, as if they had been reaching for something that wasn't there. These gruesome discoveries are more than just evidence of the cold. They hint at something far darker, something supernatural. Some believe Yuki Onna is not a single entity, but a collective force, a manifestation of the mountain spirits that guard Japan's frozen wilderness. Entire groups of climbers have disappeared during snowstorms, only to be discovered later, their bodies frozen solid, their faces etched with expressions of unimaginable fear. If you ever find yourself driving through a snowstorm and spot a figure in the distance, think twice before approaching. Yuki Onna's beauty may be mesmerizing, but the terror she brings is far more profound. Himuro Mansion, a legacy of blood. Another deeply disturbing urban legend from Japan centers around Himuro Mansion, located on the outskirts of Tokyo. This decrepit, abandoned estate is said to be one of the most haunted places in Japan, with a history so dark that even speaking its name brings a sense of dread. The Himuro family, who once lived there, were known for their extreme superstitions. They believed that an ancient evil haunted their bloodline, and to keep it at bay, they performed gruesome rituals. Every 50 years, a young girl from the family would be chosen for the most horrifying ritual of all, the ritual of strangulation. Bound with ropes, the girl would be sacrificed to appease the spirits, her blood meant to protect the family from destruction. But one fateful year, the ritual went horribly wrong. The chosen girl fell in love with an outsider, and her impure sacrifice failed to contain the evil. Instead, it unleashed a curse upon the Himuro family, dooming them to an eternity of suffering. Those brave enough to venture into Himuro Mansion today report eerie phenomena: doors that open and close on their own, shadows that flicker in the corners of your vision, and an overwhelming feeling of being watched. Many claim to hear the whispers of the tortured spirits who remain trapped within its walls, reliving their last moments of agony. But the most terrifying aspect of Himuro Mansion isn't just its haunted history, it's the stories of those who visit. Some say the mansion follows them home. Nightmares plague them, strange accidents befall them, and an unshakable sense of dread fills their lives. It's as if the curse of the Himuro family extends far beyond the mansion's crumbling walls. These urban legends remind us that the line between the real and the supernatural is much thinner than we'd like to believe. Japan's chilling tales are more than just stories. They are windows into the unknown, reminding us that there are forces in this world we may never fully understand. Have you ever wondered why urban legends can provoke such deep fear, even in places far from where they originated? These stories tap into something ancient, primal fears and forgotten truths that continue to haunt us despite our efforts to rationalize them. This journey takes us through some of the eeriest tales, stories that blur the line between myth and reality. They don't just belong around a campfire, they serve as chilling reminders that the unexplained may be closer than we think. So, if you're ready, let's dive into some terrifying accounts that might make you look over your shoulder more than once. Imagine playing a simple game of hide and seek, but with a dark, supernatural twist. This unsettling game, born from urban lore, involves something as innocent as a stuffed toy. The ritual starts innocuously. You cut open the toy, fill it with rice and a part of yourself, such as a lock of hair or even a drop of blood, before sewing it back up. Then, after a quiet incantation, you hide, while the toy, now infused with something far more sinister, seeks. As the night deepens, especially around that unsettling hour of 3 o'clock, the game turns terrifying. Players report feeling an oppressive presence, hearing unsettling noises, like a knife scraping against walls or soft, almost imperceptible footsteps. Lights flicker, and what was once a harmless toy begins to vanish from its place, moving as if on its own. Even after burning the toy to end the game, participants claim the sense of being watched lingers long after, the terror never fully leaving their lives. This story is more than just a game. It echoes ancient rituals that involve summoning or awakening something not meant to be disturbed. Those who play may be left wondering whether it's truly over or if they've invited something dark to stay. Another chilling tale from long ago tells of a woman with otherworldly beauty, her skin pale as the winter snow, her eyes cold and distant. This spectral figure would appear to lost travelers during snowstorms, offering a false sense of comfort. Her beauty, however, hid a deadly secret. She was known for freezing her victims with a single icy touch, leaving them lifeless in the cold. Some survivors spoke of hearing a soft, whispering voice that lulled them into a trance, only to lead them to their doom. Those unfortunate enough to cross her path were often found frozen, their bodies twisted and frozen in terror. This tale serves as a warning about the dangers that lie in wait, even in something as seemingly beautiful as the snow-covered wilderness. There's an old saying in these parts: beware the storm, for not everything in the snow means you well. Not far from one of the country's bustling cities, there's a mansion said to be cursed, a place where the past refuses to stay buried. Once inhabited by a family who believed they had to perform brutal rituals to protect themselves from an unseen evil, the mansion has become a beacon for horror. The family practiced these rituals regularly, involving a young girl who was chosen and raised in isolation, believed to be pure. But in one of the final ceremonies, something went wrong. The girl had fallen in love, a forbidden act that rendered the ritual ineffective. With the ritual's failure, the evil force the family sought to contain was unleashed. Now, the mansion is steeped in a suffocating atmosphere where every shadow seems to move of its own accord, and whispers echo in the darkened halls. Some visitors have heard eerie laughter from children who aren't there, while others have seen bloodstains that disappear when approached. Those who venture into this place leave with a heavy feeling, as if the mansion itself holds onto them, and their lives begin to unravel, plagued by nightmares and strange occurrences. Another unsettling story speaks of a woman who met an unjust and painful end, and whose rage reached beyond the grave. She was poisoned by her partner, who sought to rid himself of her in favor of someone wealthier. Her slow, agonizing death left behind a spirit full of anger and betrayal. After her passing, her ghost haunted her killer, appearing in reflections, shadows, and even in the faces of people around him. No matter where he went, she was always there, eroding his sanity. He tried everything to escape her, moving to new places, seeking help from spiritual guides, but nothing worked. Her presence drained the life from every room, and eventually, in his madness, he took the life of his new partner, believing she was the ghost. Her story, however, doesn't end there. It's said that anyone who tells or performs her tale risks meeting a similar fate, with strange accidents and misfortune following those involved. Her lingering spirit serves as a reminder that some wrongs can never be undone, and those who commit such acts may never find peace. These stories are rooted in deep fears of the unknown, of betrayal, and of forces beyond our control. They remind us that sometimes the most terrifying things aren't the ghosts we imagine, but the darkness within ourselves. So next time you hear something strange or feel a sudden chill in the air, remember these tales and think twice before dismissing them as mere superstition. If this dive into eerie stories has piqued your interest, be sure to subscribe for more. You'll want to stay tuned, as there are many more unsettling tales waiting to be uncovered, and they might just prepare you for the next time you face the unknown.